Okay, hi guys, and welcome back to the Audio Levels channel. And today we have a super cool piece of equipment. This is the Dethonray Honey H1 amp and DAC amp and DAC unit. This is an absolute no-brainer if you are in the market for high-end headphone and earphone amplifier. This is a killer little piece of kit. I've been using for a while. I've been using the Unilive Me M400, which I think is an incredible little piece of equipment. I love it just as much, but I would say that the M400 is better suited to earphones, whereas this is a powerful little sucker. This is a super interesting piece of equipment. It is a USB DAC headphone amplifier, as I said, and it comes with an AKM AK4497 DAC chip, and they have their own proprietary Velvet sound technology. It supports 32-bit 2 channels. It has PCM decoding with 32-bit up to 384 kilohertz, and it has DSD up to, I think it's DSD 128. I'll need to double check that, but I'm pretty sure this plays DSD 128. I've been predominantly using it with my laptop and with my Android phone. Original firmware played a little bit funny with my iPhone, but I believe this has been fixed, and using this with Tidal Hi-Fi and my own music collection of high resolution files. So let's get into the hardware first. It's pretty industrial looking. It looks like almost every other amp and DAC unit, which you see there's two inputs there. You have the balanced 4.4mm connector, and then you have this one that says line out and optical, and it does come with a, I believe it's up here, it comes with an optical connector there, and it comes with a USB-C to USB-C connector for connecting it to your device. It does not come with a iPhone variant connector. However, this, despite saying line out and optical out, is also a 3.5mm headphone out, so standard headphone out, just in case you were worried that this wasn't going to be compatible with anything but a balanced connector. I think it's a little bit weird that they didn't mention that there, just to clear up some confusion. You have a little status light here, then you have the on and off button, which you'll see it flash a bunch of times and change as it connects. You have this beautifully smooth pentameter, this little volume pot. It's not got knurling, but it's got little raised edges, and it just feels super smooth, and it's also got enough resistance that it's not going to massively jank the volume up while you're listening to it. It's not going to come loose in the pocket and just jank itself up and ruin your hearing. It's got nice little beveled edges. The whole thing is metal. It feels really robust. On the back here we have the data connection cable and the charging cable, or charging ports. This is so that you can put power into it while having it connected to a separate device without having to do one or the other, and you have a little charging light on the side there. You have a switch here to switch between phono out and line out, so if you want to use this one here, you would set it to headphone out, and if you want to connect this up to another amplifier for some reason, which you might be insane, you would switch that one over. And on this side you have the high-low gain switch. What I will say is these switches are a little bit heavy. They feel well made, but they've not got that click. It takes quite a bit of effort to push it over. Other than that, a couple of screws at the bottom and this really nice anodized blue finish on it. So build quality gets a 10 for me. It's reasonably lightweight, it's extremely well made, the hardware is fantastic. The only thing I would like to have seen is, just to clear up any confusion for anybody that might not know, would be to have made clear that that's a 3.5mm headphone out. Anyway, let's talk about in terms of what you can use this with. This is an extremely powerful little unit. It can drive anything that I've thrown at it. I've used my Utopias with it. I've used my Sennheiser 820s. I've used planers, I've used gold planners, I've used multiple Campfire audio earphones, multi-driver custom IEMs. There's nothing that this doesn't handle. It's the perfect combination of a portable amp and a desktop amp, one that you can just leave sitting next to your computer, and it's been blowing me away. The real reason it has been blowing me away is not because of its power, although that is seriously impressive, but is because of the sound quality. And the sound quality on this is quite hard to describe what it actually does, and I think it comes down to that. Maybe it's the Velvet sound technology they talk about. Usually when a company puts something like that, I'll completely ignore it because it's just marketing hype. However, this reminds me of something that not a lot of people that are still in the hobby will remember. Maybe about 10 or so years ago, there was a company called Digizoid, and they made these tiny little amplifiers called the Digizoid Zo, and when you turned it on, it was like your music came alive. It was an incredible little piece of technology. It was not technically perfect though. It altered the sound in a way that just made it grander, smoother, more lush. And this isn't, I'm not saying that this is the same thing. This is technically excellent. This is technically it's an amazing, when you're talking about like levels and reconstruction of music, this is technically an excellent device. Where it stands out from other things like the M400 and is it the FileQ5 and a few other devices like this, and I mean these devices get upwards of $1,000, is just how analogy, how lush, how full your music sounds with this. It just is a very rich sounding experience, and I don't want people to get confused. Usually when you use descriptors like that, people think it is warm sounding. Yes, it's slightly towards the warm side, but it is extremely, for lack of a better word, lush. Just it's lush. It sounds, your music sounds incredible. The pairing for this, I think it works well with all headphones, even if you're using a warm-ish headphone. I don't think that detracts anything. Usually the problem with something that is described as lush is when you use it with a warm headphone, it becomes overly lush, it becomes overly warm. This doesn't add to the warmth. It's slightly leaning to the warm side, but it has this ability where if you use it with a warm headphone, it doesn't take it too far, but if you use it with a cold headphone, it kind of brings it back into the warmth, so it seems to like limit the extension of that warmth. I can use that with the Dorados, which I consider warm and lush in their own right, and this sounds incredible. The original Solaris with this, my god, the one downfall of this, and it's not a downfall, again, it's really nitpicking, is that the soundstage on IEMs isn't quite as wide as the M400, which is extremely large, but then you pair it with something with an extremely large soundstage and it counteracts that, and it just pairs beautifully. It's a special sounding unit, and for the price, I believe this is $699. And that's just insane value when you're talking about paying $1,000, $1,500 plus for amps and DACs and stuff like that, let alone going up to $2,000. I mean, this would give any AK up to 2,000 probably plus. I don't buy into the hype of overpriced garbage, even though this is extremely expensive. When I say that, I mean stuff that doesn't AK stuff is amazing, but you need to be aware that you're paying a premium for AK, and I think most AK owners understand that you're paying. You could be paying $1,000 premium on something just because it's an AK player. This is $699, and this kicks it with things well over $1,000. It drives everything that I've thrown it at. It works really, really well now that they've updated the firmware. And it's really, really well built. Let's go into technicals on the sound. The lows are punchy, outstanding timbre, like outstanding decay on it. The bass hits hard, it's full, it's not overly prominent, which the mid-range has this slight bump towards, which I think gives it that analogue-y sort of tuning, whereas a lot more stuff tends to be leaning V-shaped or with a roll-off on the treble. The treble is smooth, open, quite airy, not as extensively airy as something like the M400, but paired with the right headphone, again, it's just an exemplary, like, all-around listening experience. Special piece of equipment. I'm gonna say that this is taking the place of the M400. I can't believe I'm saying that because I'm so into the M400 with IEMs, which is where I do my predominant listening with. But using it with my headphones, using this with my full-size headphones, and having that versatility that still sounds good with my earphones, which tend to be towards the warmer sound. Yeah, I think you're going to be seeing a lot more of this in videos in the future. It's just a really, really good piece of kit. So there you have it, Dethonray. I know that's a little bit of a love story, but I'm loving the way that some of these companies are bringing out just outstanding stuff, outstanding value in comparison with what the rest of the market's doing. And it seems like whoever designed this has a real passion or a real flair. I know nothing about Dethonray as a company. I saw that they have a Netherlands website, but I'm going to be guessing that they're a Chinese company of some sort, just because the first thing I've seen them is being distributed through Linsol. But whoever has designed this clearly knows what they are doing on the internals and the tuning of this. This is no joke. This is like if audio equipment becomes artwork in a way, that somebody has put real thought into this. And I'm gonna actually see if I can get in touch and maybe find out a little bit more about what Dethonray is as a company. As I say, this is the first product I've ever picked up, and before doing reviews I just check the price and basically just make my judgment based on price and performance, without reading any of the marketing bump. For if I don't have experience with any of their other products, I don't make comparisons and stuff like that. But I would say if you've got under $1,000 looking for an amp and a DAC, this is the one right now. Of course, if you don't need the functionality of a DAP, which myself as well, I'm coming around to just using my phone and one of these. So yeah, I should probably, before I go, talk about battery life. I was getting 10.5 hours on playback, and I was taking about 2 hours 45 minutes for a full charge. Both pretty good. Nothing spectacular, but about there with what you expect for this sort of product. So there you go, Dethonray H1, excellent piece of equipment. You're going to see it a lot in future reviews. It's going to become one of the standards on the channel, and yeah, highly recommend it if you've got the money. If not, there's always cheaper options that you can get something for. Leave a comment in the bottom, I will try and help you out with a recommendation for something. Thanks for watching. Subscribe, like, all that good YouTube stuff, and I'll catch you in the next video.